Unfortunately, bullying can be a big problem for people with autism.
It is. And and that's why I got into, the anti-bullying. That's why I started the anti-bullying initiative, because there was a stat that came out, I think about 8 years ago, saying that anywhere between 65 to 90% of kids who are on the spectrum in our country in schools, they are the number one targets for bullies in schools. And that's why I
Mhm.
started doing all this, because, I was in those kids' shoes before. And not just like individuals in the spectrum, but all kids who've been bullied. But part of the reason why the bullies go after the kids in the spectrum is because, they're the easiest targets. Because again, I was the easy target because of the things that I said and did, or I was tricked into doing things differently. And I have obviously, what's so great about the spectrum, Rachel, as you know, is there's so many different kinds of individuals on that spectrum who have many different wonderful characteristic traits. And so, but some of those kids, for example, may rock back and forth a lot. And bullies will see that in the hallways and they'll go after them for it. They may call them weird, or they may call them, why would you do this? Why would you do that? Like, why are you rocking back and forth? But again, that's where it's on advocates to tell those individuals, hey, this is why this person rocks in the hallway, or this is why this person watches his iPad a lot, or this is why he wears his headphones a lot, or this is why an individual on the spectrum can't go to Michigan State basketball games sometimes, because it's 15,000 people in this arena and the noises are too much. The stimulus is just an overload. I was the same way when I was 4. I could barely go to football and basketball games in Michigan State because of the arena, because of the lights, the sounds. And so, but I was able to overcome all that because of a little trait that I did. So when the scoreboard would get down to 0 and the horn would go off, I would put my hands in my ears and then slowly take them off as the horn's going on. But then if it
Mm.
was much, I put my hands back on. So every game I kept doing it, and it got to the point where I was just so used to the noises around me, I was able to kind of just control the environment around me. And I told Dr. Temple Grandin that story, and she just said to me, you're kind of like the first person I've heard who's kind of done that, like control the environment around you. And then she asked me permission to use that as an example in her presentations. I was like, yeah, go for it, have fun with it. But again, like back to the whole bullying piece, I've gone to schools, Rachel, where I've said that stat, the 65 to 90%, and then I've told students my story, and then I've had bullies come up to me and say, hey, I was bullying this individual over there with autism because I didn't know what he went through. I just thought like this is who he was as a person. And I'm like, well, it is who he is as a person, because that's what autism is. It's a characteristic trait. And so now you understand why he can't control certain things sometimes. And then I see those bullies go up and apologize to their victims. And it happened
Yeah.
first school I went to. And that was something that I was proud of from day one, but it also told me, hey, these kids want to learn more about it. And once they learn more about it, then they could start having their backs for the rest of their high school, middle school, the time they're in their high school and middle schools together.
Yeah, and it's just making me think, you said this boy kind of put it together like, okay, he's doing that because he has autism. And
Hmm.
he said, I thought it was just who he was.
Right, right,
This also just shows so much about humans, maybe how we are naturally with tribalism and othering people, and kind of like if you're different, if you're doing something different, or if you're behaving differently, you become ostracized from the group.
right.
And it shows up in so many ways in adults also. Like you see it on social media when people are
Mhm.
kind of attacking each other for having different political views.
Yeah.
And I wonder, like, your work is so important because it's teaching kids, like, who will be future adults, obviously,
Hmm.
about just accepting people for who they are and not just excusing them because they have a diagnosis. Like it's,
Right.
letting them realize, like, treat everyone with kindness.
Exactly. And I'll piggyback off of that. I've also told individuals like, why would you want to bully and disrespect somebody in your own school when you're actually part of the same group? You're part of the same team. You're part of the same family. So the last thing I talk about in my presentations is, especially in schools, I talk about their school mascot. So for example, if I go to I'll just use Livonia Churchill, where I currently live and help coach basketball at. Their mascot's the Chargers. Like, I will tell that school, why would you bully and disrespect somebody in your own building? Because guess what? You're part of the same group, the Chargers group. You're on the same team, the Chargers, and you're part of the Chargers family for life. Like, when you graduate from Livonia Churchill High School, you're a Charger for life. And so for me, I graduated from Okemos. We were the Chieftains. I'm a Chieftain for life. I graduated from Michigan State. We're the Spartans. I am a Spartan for life. So why would I want to try to disrespect or bully somebody who's part of my own family? Because I care about that family more than a lot of other things in my life. And so that's what I tell kids. Like, what's the point? Like, what are you trying to prove by doing this? Like, why would you bully somebody who's part of the same team, who's on the same team as you, who's in the same group as you, who's a part of the same family that you are for the rest of your life? And so that part really does hit home with kids. Because I remember this was about 3 years ago. I was at West Ottawa Middle School, which is in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And so the principal was telling me how before I got there, they were having trouble with, certain groups, that were in the hallways and just trying to disrespect and bully each other. And so when I talked about the whole family, and team and group message, a lot of those kids went to the principal and said, I understand it now. I understand what he was talking about. The West Ottawa Panthers, like, we are part of a unique family here. We're part of something that nobody else gets to be a part of. And we need to understand and realize more that, this is us. This is our group, and that's what makes racial schools so great, is that you meet individuals who are from different backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds, who are from different states, different countries, and you get to learn more from them. So again, why disrespect that person? Why bully that person? And so, and that's a message that I'm going to try and carry and continue on for as long as I can, because as long as bullying's still around, like, we need that message out there.
You've been watching Autism Knows No Borders. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Also, we'd love to hear from you, so let us know what you think in the comments section. Click here to watch this interview in its entirety. You can also find us on your favorite podcast app. Tune in each week for engaging conversations of how people across the globe are inspiring change and building community. Thanks for watching. Take care.